Welcome to the first video in this rigging series. What I'm going to attempt to show you here is one, how to use how to create a rig like I've created here for this Ninja Bud that I've passed out on my site. This control, the controllers for this character are they're pretty useful, pretty easy to use. We see we have some fairly simple controls for the eyes. And we'll go ahead and I'm going to turn my stuff off for a minute. I'm going to go to parent, and we see we can actually reset the position of these guys by going to move and parent and just right clicking on these spinners to set them back to 0. Same thing for this guy. We just set the X and Y back to 0 and it's back to the default position. The feet have some pretty typical controls. And basically this is what I'm going to show you how to do. I'm going to start the process of showing you how to do this. Now, just make sure everything's reset there. With our character, he's basically the next step after you've learned how to animate bouncing balls. This is the next version of a character I think is useful to move to. And we've got just some other parameters here. We can hide all the additional controls, like all these helpers that we have. We've got all these little helpers running around that are helping us control the rig. We can come in here and hide just certain ones. The foot controls, unhide them all, do whatever. We also have the ability to center to world. So let's say we got this character and he is just rotated all kinds of crazy and over in crazy part of the file. Hit center to world and it's going to pop him right back 0 0 on both position and rotation, which is kind of can be kind of nice when it comes to starting over on different animations or whatnot. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things that we can do to start creating our own rigs like this. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into the file that you hopefully have downloaded at this point, and we're going to start from here looking at how we can start the rigging process with this character. Now you'll see that we have the head that is not attached. The only thing that's attached at the moment are the eyes, and the eyes have basically been grouped together, and the pivot point for the eyes is back here at the center of the head. So when they rotate, they actually rotate around the head together. Then I have 3 bones that have been made to give like a little bandana strap or a little bandana tail or ponytail or whatever you want to call it. We have legs that are nothing more than cylinders and spheres. And same thing here. These guys have been linked with the select and link tool This one's been linked here, so that's why it follows. You'll notice that the feet are not following the legs at the moment. That is because of the way we're going to be creating this rig later. The feet, the toe, and the actual ankle and heel, they're linked together. They're just not bound to the feet at the moment, or the shins and the upper leg. And notice that if we move the head, nothing else goes with it. So here is the blank starting point for our rig, and where we're going to start from now. So the first thing that we're going to do, I'm going to create a point helper. And so we go to helpers and point, and we're actually going to be making a lot of these. So I've actually have it set up. I've customized my interface a little bit to add some of the things that I like and things that I know I'm going to be using a lot here. Let me just show you real quickly kind of what I've done. So I go to my customized user interface, quads, and then I come over here for this one, and as you can click around and see which ones they are. So under tools, I've created so I come over here, and let's say for like my point helper, if you want to add a point helper to this, just click PO and it pops to the PO, and we just click and drag this right over here like so, and it'll add a point, and then just do the same thing for anything else. So and then once you're done, you hit save. Obviously I've added parent local view and coordinate system, so I can just right click and quickly hop to any of these instead of coming all the way back up here and changing this one. I've added, let's see, I haven't added anything to this one. I've added bone tools, select and link, and unlink to this one right here. So when you have made, whatever adjustments that you're going to make, you hit save and save it, and yes, overwrite. So as you can see, I can now come here and quickly create boxes, create spheres, and in this case we're going to make a point. So we'll go ahead and make a point. I'm going to turn it off cross and set it to a box. And what we're going to do is all of these are legs. We see who they belong to, and then our bandana. What we're going to do basically is we're going to create these point helpers, and they're going to be attached at the base of each of these objects. So I'm going to go ahead and create this one. I'm going to hit Alt A, which is the shortcut. Alt A is the shortcut for the align tool. So I hit Alt A, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this leg right here, and I'm going to make sure that X, Y, and Z is aligned, and X, Y, and Z on the orientations aligned. So if we switch this to local, this guy is lined up with our leg. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my select and link, and I'm going to link the leg back to the dummy. So now when I move the dummy, the whole leg goes with it. I'm going to hit Control V to make a copy of this point helper, and then I'm going to hit Alt A immediately, and I'm going to do the same thing and align X, Y, and Z on the orientation to the other leg. Select and link, go ahead and add that one. So again, this guy is going to move both itself and the leg. So again, Control V, and you can also just hold Shift and copy it out, and then Alt A, and we're going to align it here. And then I'm going to make another copy, so Control V and then Alt A, and I'm going to align it to this last one. Now, what I want is I want this guy down here at the tip. So I'm going to go ahead and link this dummy here to this guy, and when I go to move and parent, we see that it's going to be moving based on the angle, the orientation of the object that's linked to. So I can now just move this down till it is right around there, which is close enough for me to be in at the end. I don't really need this to be that big, so I'm gonna bring this down to like a 5. I think I'll do the same thing here. Let's maybe a little bigger, 15. Okay, maybe we'll do the same for these guys. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and make sure that we have everything linked up. So I know that this guy's linked here. I want to make sure that this guy's linked here. So this one moves everybody. Alright, and now I'm going to select and link this one to the head. This guy is going to get linked to the head, and this one's going to get linked to the head. So now our whole character, except for the feet, are moving when we move the head, which is what we want. Now, one of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure that we haven't rotated any of our objects. So if we go to rotate in local or gimbal, especially gimbal, we see that this guy, the leg here, has a slight rotation. So does this guy. So do the legs. Okay, that one's fine. This one's a little off. The head's fine. Our dummies. Okay, so we've got a lot of objects here that have got very weird rotations. Gimbal is just showing you the true rotations of your objects. So we've got very, very weird rotations, and it's really important when we do our rigging that our objects have zeroed, or the rotations are zeroed out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select all the objects. I'm going to hit Alt and right click, and we have some options up here. I'm going to go ahead and hit freeze rotation. So now if we go to rotate and we click on our objects again, we see that everything's been zeroed out. Which is what we want. Everything has zeros for the rotations. Okay, so now we're good to go. What this basically is everything has a default position now. We can also see that by doing this, it's actually created a list controller. A rotation list controller on each object. So it's got the initial pose where everything was, and then it adds an additional one that we can use and manipulate on it as well. So that's basically what that does when you do a freeze rotation or freeze position on any object. So now we got everything at 0. I'm going to go ahead and add me another point, and this guy is going to get linked to the bottom of this chain. So when I'm going to set this to local, when this guy gets rotated, this point is going to be at the base of the shin. So to do that, I've already, when I created my feet objects, I've got their pivots exactly where I want them, where I like to be at the base of this shin. So all I got to do, and I'll cover all this in another video actually creating the mesh and getting it set up the way that it needs to be. So I'll select on this guy, Alt A, and I'm going to align it to the foot. And let's go ahead and I'm going to bring this guy down. Like so. And I'm going to hit Control V and then Alt A, and I want to line another copy over here. And now we do the linking. So I want to link this helper to the shin and this helper to the shin. So if we rotate, we see we've got that helper attached to the bottom of both legs. Okay. So now, again, if we move, we still don't have the feet a part of our rig. So now we have to work on our feet. And what we're basically going to do is we're going to create another point. And this guy is going to be aligned in between our toes and the actual ankle or heel. So I'm going to make this one a little smaller. Let's go maybe like a 5. And then Alt A to align it in the middle. And now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and hold Shift, and I'm going to drag this guy out like so to where it is going to be, go to my top view, and I'm going to make sure that X rotation's lined up here on the end of the toe object. And what that basically is, what we've basically done is this is like the toe pivot. And now I'm going to hold Shift, and I'm going to copy this out. And what we're doing here is we're going to move this to the back of the heel. And the position of these guys are really important. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I can eyeball this if I wanted to. I'll go to my left view and I can eyeball this. Basically what I want this to be is lined up perfectly with the back end of his heel, and then the Y lined up like so. So right there is pretty close. What I'm going to do though, just to ensure that things are going to be lined up very well, I'm going to go to my 3D Snaps tool, right click, and let's use the axis center as the start snap point, and then snaps. I want to make sure that we are snapping pivots to vertices. So, and let's undo that. So you see as I move it, you see how it's snapping right to those vertices. So I just pick that one, and I'm going to go ahead and close that and turn off our snaps. So that pivot point is perfectly aligned to that vertice. I'm going to go ahead and shrink this guy down, let's say like a 2, and I'm going to turn my snaps back on, hold Shift, and we snap it right over to this other vertice. Okay, so we got these two guys on the corners. And I'll turn my Shift off, and I'll just go ahead and turn off my snaps, hold Shift, and I'm going to copy this guy back over to the center. Now I want it centered with the foot, so I'm going to Alt A. I'm going to align it to the foot again, but this time I'm going to uncheck all of these. So obviously if we line it to the Z, it's going to pop up to the center here, so I don't want that one. The Y position is going to pop up. Let's do this like this. We can actually see where everything goes. Alt A, align. Okay, so we want it, don't want it on the Z. The Y is going to push it in and under. So the X position is going to just line it up perfectly centered here, which is what we want. Okay, so now we've got 3 along the end, and if I really wanted to, I think what I might even do is I'm going to take these guys and I'm just going to move these out, and notice I'm just looking on where the Z axis is. I have that lined up with the outside of the foot here, and then I'm going to move it down so that the Z is at 0. So I'll do the same thing. I'm going to move this out, and I'm watching for when the Z axis of the gizmo lines up with the outside of the foot here, and then I'm going to set the Z axis down to 0, so the pivot point of the dummy is here at the corner of the ground. And I'm going to do the same thing with this, the center one here. I'm just going to slap it right down to the ground like so. Okay, so we now have a dummy here at the ankle. We have 3 along the heel, we've got 1 in the middle, and 1 on the toe. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and name these real quick. And quick tip here, stuff like this, where I'm trying to pick on and I'm selecting something else. If we switch this guy to helpers, say, now the only thing that I pick is helpers. When I select all around, the only thing it selects on are the helpers. So it can be very useful using stuff like this. So I'll pick on this guy, and I'm going to call this ankle, and this guy is going to be ball, and this guy is going to be toe. Okay, I'm going to call this heel base. I'm going to call this heel R, and this is heel L. I'll put it B, so underscore, so heel LB, and I'll do the same thing back here, copy and paste, and heel RB. So this is the heel right bank and the heel left bank. So this is the ball and the toe, the ankle, and the heel base. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is basically we'll copy these guys over, make copies. And we'll just copy this and Alt A, and can't Alt A, so I'm going to escape because we need to be able to pick geometry again. So Alt A, and make sure these are all set up again, and then again we're going to hold shift. I go to my top view and just want the x-axis to be pointing down to the edge of the toe. Sorry about there, looks good. Okay, so we've got those two, and so this one's toe, call that one toe as well. And make that one ball. This is ankle. And now I'm going to select these guys and copy these over. And let's go to the front view, wireframe. And it looks like I did a pretty good job moving these over to the center. Keep in mind the Z should point straight up the outside of the foot, and it should be at 0, which it is. So Z points straight up outside the foot, and we know that this was aligned in between the other two, so the position of this one should be centered up, which looks like it is. So you can use the align tool and get perfect on it again if you want to, but I don't think that it's necessary. It looks like it's close enough to me. So okay, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to basically rename these helpers and putting the left and right on them. I'm going to show you a quick way of doing it. So I'm going to go back to setting this to helpers, and I'm going to select. So let me show you something. If I walk through the names, ball, and then heel base and heel RB and all these things, and these guys have copies, so they all going to have this 01 attached to the end. So what I'm going to do is just get rid of those. Okay, so if we hit H and we tell this to only show us the helpers, the only thing we have left are these points up here that don't have unique names. So I'm going to select on one of those. Okay, so this is, I'm going to go ahead and call this leg base. And same thing, leg base. You might be asking yourself, why am I calling them the same names? Call that tail tip, and bandana base. Okay, so let's see. So everything has unique names. Now we want to name them so that they have a right and left identifier to them. So I'll select just these guys, and I'm going to go to Tools, Rename Objects. We don't want to adjust the base name, but I want to add a prefix to the name, right underscore, and rename. So now we'll see that this is right underscore toe, right underscore heel left bank, right underscore leg base. So we'll do the same thing here. Select all the left and prefix. This time it's going to be left underscore, rename, left underscore leg base, left underscore toe, left underscore heel, left bank, left ankle, so on and so forth. So we now have all of our helpers named with unique names, and we can check this again and see that we don't have any double names. Everything has a unique name, which is what we want. I'm going to put this back to all and hit cancel. So now we have our dummy structure created. The last thing that we need to do is set up the linking, and that'll be the last part of this video, is setting up the linking. Okay, so the way things are right now, what we want to have happen, you know what, I think that we're actually going to save this for another video, because we really need to go ahead and get the IK set up to really do the linking the right way. So we'll go ahead and finish this up in the next video, where we actually start linking and getting the pivots and everything on our legs the way that they need to be. So I'll see you in the next video.